Warning: this show contains adult language and themes. Liberals and little children should cover their ears.
Welcome to Liberty Never Sleeps, where negativity never sounded so good. Now here's your host, Thomas Purcell.
Talking about the Bible and Obama and God, I think people often confuse religion with a faith in God, because for those of you who are new listeners, I've talked about this at length before, that religion and God are not the same thing. You can believe in God and have nothing to do with religion, despite what the people who belong to a church will tell you. A church is not required by God. Yeah, there's passages in the Bible that say you should meet like this and you should break bread. But I got to tell you, with the Bible, I studied as a book of literature. I remember going through many classes, because I went to Catholic school, where the Bible was discussed as a point of faith. But when I got to college, I learned more about the Bible as literature, as a book, as not as fiction, as literature. And what I mean by that is take a look at the story of the Bible and the passage of the Bible as a whole. What is the Bible about? Well, God creates the world, right? Man eats the apple and becomes like God, tree of knowledge. God gets pissed and spends the next 2,000 years punishing man for that. Got the Noah and the floods. You got Samson and Delilah. You got all these wonderful stories. Lot, the story of Job. I mean, he basically spends 2,000 years pissing off man, right? Because man pissed off God. So there's bad blood between them. So finally God says, hey, I'm going to send you my son down, and he's going to, make good on this and say I'm sorry. So Jesus comes down and goes, hey, listen, this is the message. It's really simple, and sorry about the last 2,000 years. And what does mankind do? They crucify him. And then after the crucifixion, God comes back, look, you really can't kill me. All right, I'm God. So here's the message in a nutshell. Be good to others the way you would treat yourself. That's it. Bye. I'll see you at the end of this story. And then the book of Revelations after the Apostle talk. That's the story of the Bible. I know but really that's a book of literature. God comes down, beats up man. Man gets even by killing his son. And they both come to amends and say, listen, we'll meet at the middle at the end of this story when the sun blows up and the whole world comes to an end. That's it. That's the story of the Bible. If you want to assess it as a book of literature, that's the story of the Bible. So when somebody says to me that this passage in the Bible means this, and Matthew said this to John, and Jacob begat Edom, and that's why you can't be gay, that's why you have to break bread on Sundays or eat fish on Fridays, I go, that's a lot of hooey. I'm sorry. That ritualization of religion is designed for people to give them some sort of structure in life. But many people don't need that, such as myself. We know that there's a God, that there's a heaven and a hell, and if you do right, you make it to the heaven, and if you do wrong, you go to hell. Jewish feel, I don't think they will have a hell. I'm not an expert on Jewish faith. But the bottom line is, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you live your life by that credo, whether you be gay, whether you be a minority, whether you be a Methodist or a Baptist, I don't believe that there is anything in the Bible that would suggest that God would bar your entry to paradise. There's nothing in there. There's quotes about specifics, and I'm sure that there's all these Christians out there listening to this show who will be happy to send me quotes of because X, Y, Z. But for every quote that you could give me about God says you need to do this, there's another quote that says you need to do something else, or something so ridiculous like don't sleep with a woman when she's on her period or something like that, that I can point to that would refute your quote. Really, because the Bible is not about quotes. The Bible is about faith. And if you're a Christian and you believe in the words of Jesus Christ, you believe that there really is only one ultimate rule. Treat each others with the same kindness that you would treat yourself. And that's why I believe that liberalism is anti-Christian. And not because of things like don't use the word God in a Gettysburg Address. It's because if you treat others as you would treat yourself, be kind to strangers kind of thing, you wouldn't enforce Obamacare as a policy in this nation. You wouldn't put a gun to somebody's head and say, we're going to take your money if you don't buy insurance for somebody else. The whole point of Christianity is not to outsource your charity to government. It's to behave in a certain way so that your fellow man is not abused by your action or inaction. That's it. It's really simple, folks. You don't got to go out there, thump a Bible like some of these congressmen in the House and in the Senate and say we need to be more like God and Christian and tell everybody what to do. That's not Christian-like. What you need to say to people is, hey, listen, faith or religion or virtue or what I believe in worked for me. If you want to follow this path, that's great. But we're not going to enforce any laws or tell people what to do. And the liberal mantra is always telling people what to do, isn't it? You're going to pay for somebody else's birth control. You're going to pay for someone else's abortion or whatever they do for themselves. We're going to tell you what to do in the bedroom. You have to behave in a certain way. We're going to provide benefits for heterosexual couples, but not homos. That's nothing in the Constitution was about that. There's no constitutional standard for marriage. And that's what gets back to this abortion thing, which is now blown up in the face of the left. They took this case to the Supreme Court, saying